This is Freedom Global News.
Federal government says 130 million Nigerians live in poverty.
This is
Bayero University Kano lecturers protest over half salaries. Central Bank of Nigeria directs banks to open on Saturdays amid Naira redesign. And on the foreign scene, Equatorial Guinea leader Obiang seeks to extend 43-year rule.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you listen to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Today is the 17th of November 2022, which is equivalent to the 22nd of Rabiul Thani, 1444 after Hijri. And now the news in full. The federal government, through the National Bureau of Statistics, said 130 million Nigerians are poor. In its 2022 Multidimensional Poverty Index survey released in Abuja today, the NBS said the figure represents 63% of the nation's population. It added that the poverty index is mostly experienced in rural areas, especially in the north, with women and children being the most affected. The survey was conducted by the NBS, the National Social Safety Nets Coordinating Office, the United Nations Development Programme, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. It was gathered that the measure was to calculate the figure was based on multidimensional poverty index with 5 components of health, living standard, education, security, and unemployment. According to the survey, over 50% of children across the country are affected by poverty. In his remarks, the Statistician General of the Federation, Mr. Adeyemi Adeniran, noted that 56,610 households were surveyed in areas such as health, education, living standards, food security, water reliability, underemployment, security shocks, and school attendance were considered. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, Bayero University Kano branch, has conducted a peaceful protest today over the payment of half salaries to lecturers by the federal government in October. Medina Shiu Hausawa reports.
The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group today approved an equity investment of $20 million in the Nation Fund. The Board of Directors of the
Apologize for the technical difficulty that we are facing. The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Amina Adu Bayero, has charged the newly posted Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Kano, Jigawa, Idi Ayuba Ekbeji, to step up efforts in protecting lives and properties of the people. The Emir made the call while receiving the new AIG, who was at the palace to introduce himself and solicit support and cooperation. The Emir also advised him to be fair and just in the discharge of his responsibilities, as well as assure his Emirate Council support for enhancing security development. Earlier, the newly appointed AIG reiterated his command's resolve to maintain peace and order. He also assured the Emir that he would work tirelessly to eradicate the menace of drug abuse among the society, especially during the forthcoming elections, and solicits the Emir's support in that direction. In another development, the Emir has received the management staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria and tasked them on the issue of e-Naira and the change of currency, which the federal government would do very soon to enlighten the public on its significance as to restore confidence to the nation. The Director of Currency, Alhaji Ahmed Bello Umar, also told the Emir that they were at the palace to solicit the Emir's support in that direction. And on the sporting arena, the Nigeria Football Federation says the new board led by Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau will not discriminate against selection into any of Nigeria's national teams of Nigerian players born in any part of the world. Mama San Uba has details of this and other sports updates.
The Nigeria Football Federation Director of Media and Communications, Ademola Olajire, disclosed this today, assuring that selectors for the national teams will be given the free hand to pick players of Nigeria origin from any part of the world, noting that as long as they qualify to represent Nigeria and are good enough. In another update, Super Eagles head coach Jose Peseiro said he is unhappy that Victor Osimhen will not be available for tonight's international friendly against Portugal. Peseiro, speaking to the media, revealed that he received a report from Nepolis doctors claiming Osimhen is suffering from a back problem. Osimhen has not played any of the 3 friendly matches against Ecuador, Mexico and Algeria that the Super Eagles have played under Jose Peseiro. Meanwhile, Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa has charged the 5 Africa representatives at the 2022 World Cup to strive to create history by going all the way in Qatar and if possible win the trophy for the continent. Senegal, Ghana, Morocco, Cameroon and Tunisia are 5 Africa representatives at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Speaking after he paid a visit to the newly elected president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau, in his office in Abuja, the player ruled the absence of Nigeria from the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup and affirmed his belief that an African nation can win the World Cup. And on tennis, Novak Djokovic confirmed he will play at next year's Australian Open, saying he was very happy his visa ban had been overturned. The Serb, a 9-time champion, was deported before this year's event after his visa was cancelled in a row over his COVID vaccine status. Muhammad Sanoba, Freedom Radio.
The global news is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com, or call us through this number 082 444163. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. The Central Bank of Nigeria has instructed commercial banks in the country to work on Saturdays till January 31st, 2023 to enable customers return existing Naira notes. The CBN had announced plans to redesign the 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira banknotes and release the new notes by December 15th, 2022. Speaking at the CBN Fair in Ilorin, Kwara State, today the CBN Director of Corporate Communications Department, Osita Wasinobi, said that the new and existing notes shall remain legal tender until January 31st, 2023, when the existing notes shall cease to be legal tender. The CBN Fair has as its theme promoting financial stability and economic development, represented by the Acting Director, Corporate Communications, CBN, Akbama Uket. The director said that deposit money banks have been directed to immediately start returning their existing currencies to the CBN. Meanwhile, the CBN warned Nigerians of the consequences of mishandling Naira notes, saying that they reiterate the need to handle the Naira with care. The Naira remains a symbol of the national pride and treated with utmost dignity. And on business, we have Muhammad Abba Abdullahi with updates.
The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group today approved an equity investment of $20 million in Evolution Fund 3, a pan-African clean and sustainable energy private equity fund that is mobilizing about $400 million into renewable energy and resource efficiency asset across sub-Saharan Africa over a 10-year period. The fund manager, through its predecessor funds, had delivered 21 renewable energy projects with a total generation capacity of 2 gigawatt. According to reports, the bank's support is expected to contribute to an additional 2,162 megawatt of installation renewable power generation capacity, 1.8 million tons of CO2 emission savings, and a green and sustainable growth across Africa by creating 2,480 full-time jobs, building on the track record of Evolution Funds 1 and 2, which generate about 1,309 jobs. The Vice President, African Development Bank's Power, Energy, Climate Change and Green Growth Complex, Kevin Keruke, stated that the bank is committed to boosting its portfolio of renewable energy projects and encouraging private investment in renewable and efficiency energy solutions. Meanwhile, the Senate yesterday resolved to provide legislative support to the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, after a rowdy session. The governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele, while announcing the issuance of the new Naira note, said bank customers should start paying their current notes to enable them to withdraw the new bank notes when circulation begins on December 15, 2022. According to it, the deadline had set to be on January 31st, 2023 for the acceptance of the current Naira notes. In a debate on a motion sponsored by Senator Obasani, some lawmakers called for the extension of the deadline to April 30th, 2023, saying the deadline was too short. Muhammad Abba Abdullahi, Freedom Radio.
Kano tomorrow morning is expected to have partly cloudy sky and light wind at an average temperature of 15 degrees Celsius and later change to 22 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and a gentle breeze. Katsina will experience a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 16 degrees Celsius and later change to 23 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and a gentle breeze. Kaduna will have a clear sky and light wind at 17 degrees Celsius and later change to 23 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and a gentle breeze. Abuja is expected to have partly cloudy sky and light wind at 20 degrees Celsius and later change to 27 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and light winds. Lagos will have a clear sky and light wind at 25 degrees Celsius and later increase to 27 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and a moderate breeze. Moving to Niger Republic, Maradi is expected to have a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 17 degrees Celsius and later give way to 23 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and a moderate breeze. While Zinda will have a clear sky and light wind at 19 degrees Celsius and later increase to 24 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and a gentle breeze. Here in Chate Mark, Freedom Radio.
We apologize for the technical difficulties experienced. And on the foreign scene, Equatorial Guinea will hold elections on Sunday in which the world's longest-standing president, Teodoro Obiang Nguema, will seek to extend his 43-year authoritarian rule marked by alleged rights abuse and corruption. The West African oil-producing nation of about 1.5 million people has had only 2 presidents since independence from Spain in 1968. Obiang and his uncle Francisco Marcia Nguema, who he removed in a coup in 1979. Though the 80-year-old Obiang, always elected with more than 90% of votes in polls, international observers have questioned his vying for the 6th term against 2 other candidates, Andres Osono Ondo and Buenaventura Monsuyu Asuma. Parliamentary and local elections will be held at the same time. Oil and gas production accounts for about 3/4 of revenues in the OPEC member state, but output has dwindled in recent years to the 93,000 barrels per day from about 106 barrels per day in 2015 due to maturing fields. Although the tiny Gulf of Guinea nation has seen major investments in infrastructure, critics say under Obiang, oil wealth has lined the pockets of his entourage. Obiang is also accused of Muslim descent and freedom of expression. The government has denied the accusations. And with this, we've come to the end of today's global news. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Have a wonderful evening.